Dear hotel receptionists of Reddit, who was the most horrible guest you have ever encountered? Story 1. It all started when the guest checked in late, absolutely devastated, and said, "I cannot survive without a microwave." I offered to warm something up for him if needed, but that wasn't good enough. He stormed out and came back an hour later, dragging a full-size microwave he'd purchased from a nearby store. The trouble really started at 3 a.m. when the fire alarm went off, waking the entire hotel. Turns out, Mr. Midnight Microwave decided to cook a steak in his new appliance. Not just heat it, he'd seasoned it, wrapped it in foil, and popped it in like it was an oven. The foil caused a small fire, which set off the sprinklers in his room. By the time we got there, his room was soaked. The microwave was destroyed, and he was trying to save his steak by patting it dry with hotel towels. When asked why he thought this was a good idea, he replied, "I didn't know microwaves couldn't cook steak. This is your fault for not having one in the room in the first place." Needless to say, he was charged for the damage. The room was out of commission for weeks. He cannot survive without a microwave, yet somehow acted as if this was the first one he'd ever used. Story 2. We had a guest whose kid squad walked a turd or diarrhea 12 feet in a line into the pool, then demanded we clean up their child's poo. Then they were upset that we had to close the pool. Also had a creepy old man come up to me asking me to bring rubber duckies to his room for his bath every night in a 5-star hotel, and I'd always just kinda nervously laugh. I'm living in far north Queensland in Australia, where there are lots of creatures. They get in sometimes, no matter how nice the hotel is. It's the rainforest. We had a guest from New Zealand come screaming at us about a lizard infestation because she had found a 1-inch gecko in her room. She said her kids were afraid, and it was unsanitary and unsafe. We removed the lizard, and she demanded an entire new room. Then she left a very nasty review, because one of us cracked a smile at the term lizard infestation. God, I have so many weird stories. I can't even remember half of them. Edit. This seems to be primarily a gecko thread now. Here's a video I took of a fight I saw on my porch the other night. Lizard tax. Garden party, where guests can enjoy cocktails and apps in the garden. We had a woman crying hysterically asking us to control the mosquitoes and flies. Stated, "I cannot control Mother Nature, ma'am." Woman lost it. I worked in a national park that had homeowners in it. One day a woman came in very upset demanding we do something about the deer eating the flowers in her garden. Her words were, "We can enjoy nature." Story 3. I used to work as a night receptionist at a hotel in Jalandhar, India, a few years ago. Most nights were uneventful, but one guest will forever be burned into my memory. It was around 2 a.m. when a man came stumbling to the front desk, looking panicked. He whispered, "There's..." Naturally, I was alarmed. I immediately checked the system to ensure he hadn't been double booked, but everything looked fine. I offered to check the room with him. As we entered, I turned on the lights, and there it was, the intruder. It was a life-size cutout of a Bollywood actor that we had placed in the hallway for a promotion earlier that day. For some reason, he had brought it into his room, propped it in a corner, and forgotten about it. I tried to keep a straight face as he muttered something about being too tired, and shuffled back to bed. The next morning, he checked out like nothing had happened. But I'll never forget having to rescue someone from their own cardboard celebrity at 2 a.m. This reminded me of the time my dad got out the autograph cardboard cutout of Sting from WWE. Forgot about it, then punched it after getting scared at like 5. Thankfully, I met Sting again when I was 15. So, I was able to get more autographs from him, and it is a funny story now. Lol. Story 4. There was this one guest who demanded a room upgrade because their aura didn't vibe with the one they booked. When told no, they started yelling, cursed the staff, and threatened to leave a bad review, only to call back later asking for a discount because they forgot their wallet. We had a guru and her 2 associates come in once. The associates weren't allowed to speak. The guru called down to the front desk because the polyester mattress cover was interfering with her aura. She said she had to have a natural cotton fiber cover. So we found a different brand, cut out the tag that said polyester, told her it was cotton, and put it on her bed. Next day she reported her aura was fine after sleeping on the cotton cover. Meanwhile, while we were changing her bed, her associates ate the entire week's worth of bananas in the dining room, plus a shit papaya of sausage. Neither one of them weighed over 100 pounds. And during all that, one of our housekeepers went into a room and found a knit comb and empty bottles of lice shampoo. Turns out a family had rented 3 or 4 different rooms all over the hotel. One of the kids had lice and was running in and out of all their rooms. I thought our manager was going to quit that day. Story 5. Probably the guy at a stag party who managed to shit himself in the lobby and then run away, pursued by security as he dribbled a trail of diarrhea across the lobby, up the stairs, in the lift, etc. Like the world's worst Hansel and Gretel. When security caught up to the drunk guy, he had made it to the first floor public bathroom and flooded it, trying to flush his trousers and underwear. Just standing there, runny shit dripping down his legs, and full bait and tackle swinging in the breeze. I once stayed at a hotel next to an event center. I was volunteered staffing for it. I had a hotel room in a hotel, maybe 300 meters from the event center. Well, what no one realized was that the bridge over the railway between the event center and the hotel was shut for repairs, and the detour was 8 miles. I hadn't slept for 48 hours mid-event and decided I absolutely had to sleep right then. So, decided to climb across this building side of a railway bridge at about 2 a.m. I stumbled and fell on a pile of wet cement gravel. And I mean I ate that shit, face first at full speed. I got up and blearily stumbled back to the hotel and crawled into bed. In the morning, I woke up, and as I got down to the ground floor of the hotel, there was gravel everywhere. There was a trail of it right through the hotel lobby back to the entrance, and staff frantically trying to sweep it up. Apparently some drunk guest had traipsed it in. Hey, I was sober as a judge, just very tired and hurt, and that the night staff had just left it there for the day team to deal with. So yeah, I was accidentally deemed to be drunk and caused a gravelly mess in a hotel lobby, despite having had no alcohol. Story 6. An entitled Karen burned a bag of microwavable popcorn, threw it out in the hallway, and called down to me at the front desk and demanded I come get it at that exact moment. I was the only one working at the time in a college town during football season. I had several groups in the lobby waiting for me to get to them, and I was so busy. I told her I couldn't come up there right then, and I'd be there when I could. She flipped out and started yelling at me. So I told her I was very sorry and I hung up. She then proceeded to scatter the burned popcorn and the bag in the elevator, which I found out about from another guest that witnessed her throwing a loud tantrum. She then came down to the front desk laughing, pointing and taking pictures of me, saying she was reporting me to corporate. I'll never forget that horrible woman. And thankfully I never heard a thing from my boss about it. I left that job a few months later. I had many other situations happen, and I'm actually not sure she was the worst one. Now that I think about it, hotel work isn't for me.